Hey there, FakeFox here, and in this video I will show you the, in my opinion, best and most important add-ons for PvE healing. Don't get me wrong here, you can absolutely heal in endgame content without any add-ons, but add-ons can vastly improve your performance and also your enjoyment. Despite many improvements, there are unfortunately still quite a few things that are only possible with add-ons. So how do we even get add-ons? The vast majority of add-ons and all that I will show you in this video can either be downloaded from esoui.com and manually installed by simply unpacking them into the add-on folder, or you do it the smart way and use Minion. Minion is an add-on management software that lets you browse, install, update and delete add-ons in a far more comfortable way. It makes a huge difference because add-ons in ESO need to be updated quite often and require additional libraries, and managing all that without Minion is pretty damn annoying. Okay, let's start with the actual add-ons now. The first one is Add-on Selector. It allows you to save and load add-on configurations, so you can create profiles for different activities. For example, PvE healing and PvP healing, where you only really have those add-ons active that you actually need. Trust me, mass immersion pop-ups are not going to improve your trial performance. Then having a general UI add-on is great. My personal choice is Bandits user interface. The most important function for me is the group frame. Role-based sorting and color coding, visualized shields, and a generally good readability is an absolute game changer for healing. But Bandits also has a dozen other functions. You can freely move UI elements, change sizes, colors, fonts, and so on. That is how I created my minimalistic UI style, for example. Bandits also has additional hotkey configurations, buff trackers, minimap, combat log, DPS meter, automation functions, combat notifications, and more. But for most of those, I do actually use other more fleshed out add-ons instead that I will talk about later. For the timers on my ability bar, I currently use Action Duration Reminder. It is more customizable than Bandits and can better deal with abilities that have multiple effects with different durations. Then an add-on that I personally only have because it is required for other add-ons to function that I will talk about later, but I know many other healers do actually use it for its normal function, and that is OdySupporticons. It allows you to assign players custom icons that are then displayed over their heads. This is, for example, quite useful to quickly find the raid leader or tank in chaotic situations. As I said, for me personally, it is more distracting than helping, but I still recommend giving it a try. For general buff and debuff tracking, I actually mostly use the game's own buff tracker at the moment. I use it mostly to see debuffs on myself. For everything else, I personally don't find this style of tracking particularly useful. There's just a whole lot of information that you can potentially display, but that holds no actual value, is kind of difficult to read and just unnecessary distraction. In case you aren't happy with the in-game buff tracker, I recommend Srendarr instead. This is what I used for years. It is super complex and lets you configure absolutely everything. If I need to track specific effects on my group, a group frame style format is in my opinion a lot better. For that I use group buffs. This add-on lets you set up frames that track a specific effect on each group member and is highly customizable. I personally never track more than 2 effects at once with it, and only ones that might not consistently apply and are important, like Minor Berserk or Major Slayer. Otherwise it is just distracting. Then I also use some set-specific add-ons. There are quite a few support sets where tracking the cooldown is basically required to achieve perfect uptimes. The best example is Roaring Opportunist, and it's of course also just a lot more convenient. These add-ons are very fittingly named after the sets they track. The ones I use are Odorim, Martial Knowledge Tracker, Roaring Opportunist, and Stone Talker, but there are quite a few more. Just search the set name and you will probably find what you need. For displaying encounter mechanics, I primarily use Code's Combat Alerts. It gives center screen messages for most relevant mechanics. This is great for mechanics that have badly telegraphed timings or targets, which ESO is unfortunately full of. We have probably all died to a random heavy attack halfway across the room from a boss facing the other direction. The only issue with Code's Combat Alerts is that it has almost no settings, so it can sometimes completely clutter up your screen with a lot of unnecessary stuff. For that reason, I also use a few content-specific trackers in addition, or to replace Code's Combat Alerts. Those are Raid Notifier, specifically for the Cracklorn trials, Asylum Sanctorium status panel, Black Rose Prison Helper, How to Sunspire, QCell's Dreadsail Reef Helper, and QCell's Rockgrove Helper for their respective trials or arenas. Next up are analysis add-ons. The most important one is Combat Metrics. It records almost everything that can be tracked about a fight and lets you analyze it afterwards. Damage done, damage taken, healing done, buff and debuff uptimes, cast delays, resources, and so on. This is extremely helpful for finding and solving problems, testing builds, and learning to keep uptimes. In addition to that, I also use improved death recap to analyze my own deaths. It simply replaces the normal death recap with a far more detailed one that allows you to better understand why you died. The most important thing about it is that it has an actually accurate timeline that also includes healing. And I also use Lilith's Group Manager. This add-on does quite a few things, but most importantly it lets you see death recaps for group members. This is absolutely amazing for healers, as there are so many situations where it's otherwise unclear why someone died, if it was your fault, and what you could change to prevent it. And now, two more very important add-ons. Hodor Reflexes is another group management tool. The important function for healers is ultimate sharing. This allows other users of Hodor Reflexes to see what support ultimate you are using and how much ultimate you have. With that, you can coordinate support ultimates to get the most out of them and not accidentally overlap them. So the last add-on for this video is Wizard's Wardrobe. It lets you save and quickly swap between builds. This is very important for PvE healing, as you need different setups for different encounters, and being able to just change between those in a second by pressing a hotkey saves a lot of time. There are quite a few add-ons for that. Wizard's Wardrobe is capable of changing absolutely everything, including CP and buff food, which most similar add-ons aren't. Additionally, it also has a lot of automation functions, automatically changing setups based on location, automatic recharge and repair, taking saved gear out of the bank, and so on. So those are my most important add-ons for PvE healing. You can find links to all of them in the video description. If you need any additional help, feel free to ask me in the comments. And with that, I hope this video was helpful to you. Thanks for watching and bye.